Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are swapping the Silicon Valley blueprints for, well, Renaissance palazzos. We're diving deep into Italy, one of the absolute hottest academic destinations right now for Indian students.
It really is heating up.
And Italy isn't just, stunning visually, it's the historical cradle of European academia. Think about the University of Bologna, almost 1,000 years old.
Incredible history.
Exactly. And then you've got modern powerhouses like Politecnico di Milano. Critically, though, it offers this world-class education at really a fraction of the cost you'd find in the US or the UK.
That cost factor is huge.
Definitely. So for Indian students looking at 2025 entry, the scholarship scene is pretty robust, but you really, really have to know precisely where to look.
It's not always obvious.
Okay, let's unpack this. What's our mission today? It's purely strategic, right? We need to go beyond just listing grants.
Right.
We need to extract those specific funding routes from the big government ones down to the hyper-local regional aid. And crucially, the strategic campaign needed to actually secure that funding.
Yeah, the how-to is key. And what's fascinating here is how clearly the Italian system is, well, actively trying to recruit international talent.
Yeah.
You see it everywhere.
How so?
There's just been a significant jump in English taught programs, especially in those future-focused fields, engineering, design, architecture management. They're really pushing those.
Makes sense. They want the talent.
Exactly. And for students coming from India, this creates just a tremendous opportunity. You're already starting with low base tuition compared to, say, the rest of Western Europe. And then you have these robust, often government-backed scholarships designed to cover not just tuition, but, substantial living expenses too. It makes the whole thing genuinely accessible.
Accessibility, that's the word. So let's jump straight into the biggest source of that centralized funding. When we talk Italian government aid, what's the main provider students need to know first?
Okay, the big one is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. You'll see it abbreviated as MADCI.
MAECI.
MADCI. That's your primary government scholarship channel. It targets international students, very much including Indian applicants, mostly for master's or PhD level study, and usually at public universities.
And the coverage, what are we talking about?
It's pretty much the gold standard. Tuition fees, health insurance, and a decent monthly allowance. Enough to really help with living costs.
Okay, that sounds comprehensive. What's the catch? Or rather, what does it take to win one?
Well, it's competitive, obviously. You need a meticulous application. They want to see clear academic excellence, a really strong motivation statement, why Italy, why that program, and language proof, either English or Italian, depending on the course.
Right. So MAECI is kind of a broad stroke, covers lots of fields. Is there a government grant that's maybe more tailored, something focused on students who want to jump right into the European workforce after all?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where the strategy really shifts towards employability. That's the Invest Your Talent in Italy grant. People call it IYTI.
IYTI, okay.
Yeah. If MAECI is about broad coverage, IYTI is much more niche and arguably higher value for a certain type of student. It strictly targets master's students, but only in specific high-demand fields. Engineering, ICT, management, architecture, those kinds of areas.
And what makes it so valuable?
The structure. It's designed as a career accelerator. It explicitly combines the classroom learning with mandatory real-world experience. You get the chance, actually, it's required to intern at a high-profile Italian company.
Ah, so it's study plus guaranteed internship.
Exactly. So if your main goal is getting a job in Europe right after graduation, you really need to look hard at IYTI. It's built for that transition.
Okay, that's a really important distinction. So if maybe you're not 100% set on a specific career path yet, MAECI offers broader security. But if you're absolutely laser focused on, say, an ICT master's and then working in Milan or Rome, IYTI should be top of your list.
That's the core difference, yeah. And this is critical. A smart applicant can't only look at the central government stuff. You've got to look locally, too. That brings us to regional aid.
Regional aid, like state-level funding.
Pretty much, yeah. Think region by region. A powerful example is EDSU Piemonte. That covers universities in the Piedmont region, like the University of Turin and Politecnico di Torino.
Okay, EDSU Piemonte. And how is that different?
The key distinction. These regional grants are often based on income as well as merit.
Wait, income-based. Can you unpack that a bit? I think many Indian students might not be familiar with that approach. It's not as common back home.
Right. It's quite common in Europe, though. These regional grants exist partly to promote socioeconomic diversity on campus. So even if you have amazing grades, you generally also need to demonstrate that your family's income falls below a certain threshold. It can be quite a low threshold sometimes.
So this could actually be a good thing for many Indian students, especially if they can demonstrate financial need.
It's a fantastic route for those who
Hmm.
qualify, absolutely. And these grants can be incredibly generous. We're talking potentially covering full tuition, plus getting you subsidized housing and access to university canteens for meals. They can effectively wipe out your biggest living costs.
Wow. Okay, that's a massive strategic point. If you qualify financially, locking down an E2C-style regional grant basically handles your day-to-day survival costs.
Pretty much. It secures a foundation.
But for those top academic achievers who might not qualify based on income or who want additional funding and recognition on top of regional aid, we need to talk university-specific money, right? Stuff that rewards pure merit.
Precisely. And importantly, these are often stackable. You might get regional aid for housing and still chase a merit-based stipend from the university itself.
Good point. Stackable scholarships. Love it.
So let's look at a couple of big players. The University of Bologna. Ancient, prestigious. What do they offer?
They have grants up to €11,000 for deserving international students, bachelors and masters.
11,000. That's significant.
It is, and their selection criteria are interesting. They look at grades, obviously, and standardized tests like SAT or GRE if you have them. But they also explicitly consider financial need alongside merit for some awards.
So a mix.
Seems like it for some of their funds. The big strategic takeaway there, these are super competitive. Timing is everything. You absolutely have to apply early. Don't wait.
Apply early. Got it. And what about for those going into highly technical fields? Politecnico di Milano, that's a huge magnet for engineers, architects, designers.
Absolutely. Polimi, as they call it. They offer really powerful merit-based scholarships.
Merit-based, okay.
Often this means a full or partial tuition waiver. Plus, they can add a pretty generous living allowance on top, up to €10,000 per year in some cases.
That's almost covering everything besides the tuition waiver.
Exactly. But there's a note here, especially for competitive programs like design or architecture masters. Yes, you need an excellent academic record. That's non-negotiable. But a strong, really compelling portfolio, that's often the deciding factor. It's got to shine.
The portfolio is key for creative fields. Makes sense.
And then, for those aiming for the absolute peak of academic research, we have to mention the specialized route. PhD scholarships at Scuola Normale Superiore in Pisa.
Ah, yes. That's truly the gold standard for pure research, isn't it? Across sciences, humanities, social sciences.
Totally. These scholarships are basically a full commitment to your research journey. They cover tuition, housing, and research costs, everything.
But it's intense. Best reserved for those with truly exceptional academic records who are laser-focused on doctoral studies and, high-level research output.
Definitely not for everyone.
So the overarching trend we're seeing here, it's unmistakable, really. Top institutions like Bocconi, University of Milan, Polimi, they're using their internal merit funding strategically. It's a tool to compete globally for the best international talent.
How so? What's the shift?
They seem to be moving away from maybe smaller, scattered aid packages and focusing more on substantial tuition waivers and significant stipends targeted specifically at those high achievers. They want the best, and they're putting serious money behind attracting them.
Right. Okay, so we know what scholarships are out there. Now the crucial part, how do you actually win them? Securing these funds isn't just filling out forms, is it? It sounds like a strategic campaign.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Think of it like running a campaign. The sources we looked at break down the process into 4 non-negotiable steps. These basically form the structure of your strategy.
Okay, let's lay them out. Step 1.
Step 1. Research and list the universities, and crucially, the specific programs that genuinely match your academic background and your future career goals. Be realistic, but ambitious.
Makes sense. Don't apply randomly. Step 2.
Step 2. Gather everything.
Immediately.
All your application documents, we're talking statement of purpose, SOP, letters of recommendation, Lord's transcripts, language proof, usually IELTS or TOEFL, and your CV or resume. Get it all ready.
Okay, preparation is key. Step 3.
Step 3. Apply early. Cannot stress this enough. Most scholarship windows, especially the big ones, open between January and April for the September intake. Don't miss those deadlines. Early bird gets the worm, or the scholarship in this case.
Ah, right. Apply early. And step 4.
Step 4. Prepare for interviews, especially for those really competitive, high-value university merit awards or things like IYTI. They'll likely want to talk to you.
Interviews, how do you prepare for those?
Practice. If you can, try to connect with alumni from the program or university. Ask them about their interview experience. Do mock interviews. Be ready to articulate your goals clearly and passionately.
Okay, so those are the mechanics. List, gather, apply early, prepare for interviews. But you said it's about strategy within those steps. What separates the winners?
Right, it's about risk mitigation and alignment. It's more than just picking boxes.
How so?
First, the campaign plan. You need a detailed calendar, map out the MAECI deadline, sure, but also the deadlines for maybe 5 or 6 individual universities you're targeting. And crucially, within that list, you should choose 3 focus programs. One you feel is a safe bet, one that feels likely, and one that's your aspirational dream school or program.
Wait, safe, likely, aspirational. Isn't that hedging too much? Wouldn't a top student just dilute their effort? Shouldn't they just go all in on the aspirational choice?
That's a really good question, and it hits on the reality of just how competitive this landscape is. Going all in on one aspirational program is a super high-risk strategy. What if you don't get it?
Okay.
The deadlines often overlap, too. The 3-program strategy ensures you obviously put maximum effort into that aspirational application, but you also develop a separate, really high-quality application for the likely program, the one where you meet, say, 80% of the criteria. By doing that, you dramatically increase your chances of securing at least partial funding, maybe even a full ride, from somewhere strong. It's not about diluting effort. It's about smart risk management, optimizing your probability of acceptance across the board.
Okay, that makes sense. Strategic diversification, what else?
Then comes the polish, especially on step 2, the document preparation. We really can't stress this enough. Avoid generic statements of purpose.
Seriously.
Why are they so bad? A generic SOP is the fastest way to signal you're not really committed to that specific program or university. It screams mass application. You must tailor your motivation letters.
How tailored?
Reference specific faculty members whose research interests you. Mention particular course modules you're excited about. Show them you've done your homework on their program. And for los ors, letters of recommendation don't just fire off a quick email request to your professors.
Right. What should you do?
Provide your referees with support. Give them a concise 1-page summary. Remind them of your achievements, state your goals clearly, and explain why you chose that specific Italian university or program. Help them write a targeted, powerful letter for you.
That's smart. Make it easy for them to write a great letter.
Exactly. And get documents translated and certified early. Don't leave that to the last minute. Bureaucracy takes time.
Good point. Okay, let's flip this. That focus on avoiding mistakes is key. The sources mention 6 common reasons scholarship applications fail. Let's use those as warnings, turn them into solutions.
Good idea.
Okay, first big failure. Profile mismatch. The panel doubts your commitment because the application feels too generic or just off. How do we prevent that?
By deeply understanding what each specific scholarship values. We talked about IYTI valuing employability, right?
Right, and university awards often valuing academic direction.
Exactly. A profile mismatch happens when you send your deeply theoretical, research-heavy SOP to the IYTI committee who wants to see your internship potential and fit with Italian industry. It just doesn't align.
So the solution
is potentially having dual SOP versions or at least heavily customized paragraphs for different types of applications. Like we'll see with the PRIA case study later, tailor.
Okay. What's another common failure point?
Weak supporting evidence. This is a big one. It covers everything from literally missing transcripts or degree certificates
Oops.
to unexplained drops in your grades or submitting documents that aren't properly translated or certified according to the specific requirements. It just screams disorganization.
And in such a competitive field.
There's no room for sloppy. Scholarships are too competitive. The solution: get all that official paperwork sorted months in advance. Check the translation and certification rules for each application. Be meticulous.
Meticulous, got it. And the final big one, the vague goals or poorly written motivation letter. How do you avoid that blandness and inject real passion and specificity?
You have to connect the dots for them.
Yeah.
Link your past experience, your BTech, your bachelor's projects, whatever, directly to the future problem you want to tackle or the specific skills you want to gain in Italy at that university.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Don't just say, I want to study data science because it's interesting. No. Say something like, building on my final year project in predictive analytics for retail inventory or past, I want to master advanced machine learning techniques within Professor Rossi's lab at University X specific Italian context to develop new models for optimizing sustainable supply chains in the Italian fashion industry future problem goal. See the difference?
Yeah, that's much more concrete. Specificity equals seriousness.
Exactly. It shows you've thought it through.
Okay, great advice. Let's pivot now to the financial reality check. Because all this planning is great, but it's meaningless if the final cost, even with a scholarship, is still out of reach. So what does this all mean for the actual budget? You said Italy is manageable.
Yes. Even with a partial scholarship, Italy can be highly manageable compared to other Western countries. Let's try and ground this with a specific budget breakdown.
Okay, let's talk numbers.
If you're successful in getting, say, a regional grant covering housing, or a partial merit scholarship that covers tuition or gives you a stipend, a realistic monthly cost of living can often be brought down to somewhere between maybe $600 to $900 per month.
$600 to $900 per month. Okay, that sounds doable for many. Where does that money typically go?
Right, let's break it down roughly. Lodging, if you're not covered by regional aid, is usually the biggest chunk, maybe $300 to $500, depending on the city and type of accommodation. Food, probably $150 to $250 if you're cooking mostly yourself, maybe using university canteens. Transportation is usually pretty cheap, maybe €30 for a monthly pass in many cities.
Okay.
Then add maybe 100 or so for miscellaneous things, phone, books, socializing, etc. So you see the biggest variable by far is lodging.
Right. Which loops back to what you said earlier. If you can secure that crucial regional housing component, like through EDSU,
that €300, $500 cost could potentially vanish or be significantly reduced. That's why targeting those regional needs-based grants, if you qualify, is so strategically critical for the overall financial plan. It tackles the biggest expense head-on.
that really puts the cost into perspective. Okay, let's bring all the strategy, the different scholarships, the application tactics, the budgeting, let's bring it to life with the Priya case study you mentioned. Priya, B.Tech in computer science, aiming for a master's in data science. She succeeded by layering applications. How did she actually do it? What was her winning strategy?
Her approach was intensely strategic.
Yeah.
It was all about perfect alignment and covering her bases. First, she meticulously mapped out all the deadlines, MAECI, yes, but also several specific universities known for data science.
Okay, the calendar step.
Right. But the real key, the game changer, was how she handled the documents, particularly the SOP. She wrote custom SOPs. Actually prepared two distinct versions.
Two versions. Why?
One version was focused purely on her academic research fit, highlighting her B.Tech project, her technical skills, her interest in specific faculty research at the target universities. Pure academic potential.
Okay, for the university merit scholarships, presumably.
Exactly. The other version was tailored for employability and industry application. It emphasized how her data science skills could be applied, her internship aspirations, her interest in the Italian tech sector.
Ah, so that one was likely geared towards the Invest Your Talent grant.
Precisely. And of course, she prepared everything super early, gathered strong LRs, and she practiced extensively for potential interviews, preparing answers for both academic and industry-focused questions.
So why was that dual SOP approach, research fit and employability, so crucial? Why did that help her secure both a tuition waiver and the IYTI award?
Because, as we discussed, the different awards are looking for slightly different things. The university assessing her for a merit-based tuition waiver wanted to see her potential as a top scholar, her fit with their research environment.
Right, the academic angle.
The IYTI committee, knowing their grant includes that mandatory internship, needed to see her future value to Italian industry, her employability, her potential to transition successfully into the workforce there.
So by customizing her documents, she effectively spoke the language of two different grant committees, even using the same core credentials.
Exactly. She satisfied two different sets of criteria strongly. And the result, it speaks for itself. She received a partial tuition waiver from the university, plus that highly coveted Invest Your Talent award.
Wow. That's a fantastic outcome.
It really is. And her success hinges entirely on that targeted application strategy, the early preparation, and proving she understood the distinct requirements of each funding stream she was chasing. That customization, it pays off massively.
That's a brilliant blueprint. Okay, so for you, the listener, hearing this, maybe feeling inspired or maybe a bit overwhelmed, what are the immediate actionable next steps if someone wants to start applying right now for 2025?
Okay, let's boil it down, echoing that quick list from our analysis. 3 key actions to take now.
Go for it.
First, create that comprehensive calendar. Seriously, open a spreadsheet or a document. Put the MAECI deadline in big letters. Then research and add the specific deadlines for at least 5 highly targeted universities that fit your profile.
Calendar first. Okay.
Second, secure 2 strong referees immediately. Don't wait. Identify professors or managers who know you well and can speak to your strengths. Reach out to them now, and remember to brief them properly. Give them that one-pager about your goals and why Italy.
Lock in those LORs. Good one. Third.
Third, prepare Plan B funding, or at least think about it and be ready to demonstrate it. This might mean researching smaller, private grants, or just showing you have a solid financial plan to cover costs if you only get partial funding.
Why is showing Plan B important?
Because it demonstrates seriousness and realistic planning to the selection committees. It shows you're committed and you've thought through the financial realities. It actually increases their confidence in offering you an award because they know you're likely to actually accept it and succeed.
That makes a lot of sense. Show you're prepared for anything. Fantastic. So wrapping this up, the biggest takeaways seem clear. You've got to know the structural differences, the broad MAECI versus the career-focused high-value IYTI.
Absolutely.
You cannot overlook regional aid like EASU, especially if you qualify financially, because it tackles your biggest living costs.
Crucial point.
And maybe above all else, you have to customize, polish, and perfect every single document to match the specific values and requirements of the scholarship you're chasing. That seems to be the strategic difference between just applying and actually winning.
That's the core message.
That.
Tailoring is everything.
Right.
And maybe one final thought to leave you with. We know the Italian ambassador himself has openly talked about the value Indian students bring, not just academic talent, but also the unique cultural perspectives, the diversity they add to campuses and workplaces. So consider this. As you craft those applications, beyond proving your academic excellence, how might you strategically emphasize the unique perspective you bring, the specific cultural insights, the different approach to problem solving you might offer, both in the classroom and potentially in an Italian company later?
Interesting. So highlighting diversity as a strength.
Exactly. Thinking about how highlighting that unique contribution alongside your grades and skills might just give you that extra edge in securing one of those highly competitive merit-based scholarships. It might be the next frontier of a truly winning application strategy for Italy.